The most beautiful girl in the world, according to the head of the 20th Century Fox film studio, Jean Tierney was a Hollywood celebrity of the 40s. Fans did not give her a pass, and the actress' career was going uphill. But one day she shook hands with an enthusiastic fan. Loving parents, a rich grandfather, the best colleges in Europe, fulfillment of any desires. This was the childhood of the future star. Indeed, everyone loved her, and she grew up a happy, kind, and affectionate girl. It seemed that everything in her life should be successful and happy. But on the threshold of adolescence, Jean learned that there are infidelities in the world, and that they can affect everyone. My father left the family and fell in love with another woman. Jean was shocked and decisively cut Dad out of her life. She considered his act a betrayal. Already at the age of 17, the girl became interested in the director of the Warner Brothers film studio. Her older brother worked there, and the girl came to visit him. The director, delighted with Jean's beauty, fervently persuaded her to sign the contract, exclaiming, "You should become an actress." But the girl decided to start with a serious education and play in the drama theater. She studied at an acting studio under the guidance of Broadway stars, and soon was performing on Broadway. Critics wrote about her in newspaper reviews, very beautiful and refreshingly modest. After a couple of years of working on Broadway, the young actress still agreed to sign a 6-month contract with Columbia Pictures. Director Howard Hughes noticed her here. At first, he tried to seduce the beauty, but neither his wealth nor influence in the world of cinema impressed Jean. She herself was from a rich family. This was not surprising to her. Then Hughes changed tactics and tried to become a friend for the proud girl. He did it. In 1941, when Jean turned 21, she fell in love. Of course, there have always been a lot of fans around the beautiful and successful actress, but this time, it seems, everything was serious. Costume designer Oleg Cassini, who works at the film studio, managed to turn Jean's head. The lovers decided to get married, but Jean's family was categorically against it. They did not represent the other half of their beloved daughter and sister like that. Then Jean and Oleg ran away. This behavior was completely disliked by the big bosses, and Cassini was immediately fired. And Romeo and Juliet didn't care. They got married in Las Vegas and enjoyed their honeymoon. Jean Tierney continued to actively act. She conquered the audience with the main roles in the films Laura, The Ghost, and Mrs. Muir, and for her work in the film God is Her Judge, where Tierney played a maniac woman, she was nominated for an Oscar. But reality has made its own adjustments. The Second World War was on, and no one could stay away. Oleg Cassini went to the front. Jean Tierney traveled to hospitals, participated in patriotic events, met with the military to support their morale, and signed autographs. Despite these circumstances, Jean was happy. She was expecting her first child from the man she loved. After one of the meetings with fans, the actress suddenly felt unwell. The rest was like a horror movie. She was brought to the clinic, and the doctors diagnosed her with rubella. Childhood illness, relatively harmless. Only, as it turned out, it is very dangerous for expectant mothers. More precisely, for the fetus. Everything happened according to the scariest scenario imaginable. Jean went into premature labor, and soon her blind girl was born. Later, the baby lost her hearing. And in addition, the doctors announced her mental retardation. Jean was crushed. She gave her girl a beautiful name, Antoinette Daria. Her husband was half Russian. But the couple could not raise a child in the family. They were afraid they would not be able to cope. They had to leave their daughter in a special institution. Antoinette Daria spent her whole life there, and she lived for 67 years, passing away in 2010. It was only a few years later that the couple found out the reason for their tragedy. It turned out that a lady with rubella was present at that fateful meeting with the audience. A passionate fan of Jean Tierney, she escaped from the hospital, dreaming of seeing her idol, and made her way through the crowd to shake hands with her favorite actress. It was enough for Jean to get infected. A fan herself told the actress about that ill-fated meeting. She came to the meeting again. Upon learning what caused her daughter's crippled life, Jean was horrified. Panic attacks began, then depression developed. She didn't want to see anyone, refused to leave the house, didn't fulfill contracts with studios. Her condition worsened, and eventually she had to go to a psychiatric clinic. Against the background of all the worries, her relationship with Oleg Cassini finally broke down. The couple separated. The course of treatment did its job. Little by little, Jean was able to return to normal life. She starred in films, met men. Once she almost married John F. Kennedy, who was a Navy lieutenant at the time. She was seriously in love with him, but the parents of the future president did not allow their Catholic son to marry an actress, and even a divorced one. Distressed Jean was comforted by Oleg Cassini. For a while, the former spouses were reunited. It seemed to Jean that everything should be fine now, because they had both been through a lot and had become wiser. They had another daughter, Christina, but soon after, Jean's health began to deteriorate rapidly. When she ended up in the hospital with severe pneumonia, Oleg did not even come to visit her. Aren't you scared? Did you not want to take on the burden of caring for your sick wife and little daughter? Or just fell out of love? Whatever it was, but this time their breakup was final. And Jean recovered, and she became even more beautiful than she was. She was being filmed again, and fans were dancing around her again. And one day she became the wife of oil tycoon Howard Lee. She was almost 40 years old, but she felt like a young girl driving men crazy again. Howard managed to give Jean real happiness. She was an adored wife, and the only thing that marred her joy were constant thoughts about her eldest daughter and her fate. The actress lived with her second husband for 20 years, and when he died, she grieved for him for the rest of her life. Jean outlived Howard by 10 years and died hoping to meet her lover in another world, and we propose to find out how Natalie Portman became the main child in Hollywood and the story of the mysterious death of another star, Natalie Wood.